everybody. I'm Tom Vessel.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Joey Evans.
And today we're talking about a game, the big game of the year for CGE called SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
What?
In this game, we're all looking for aliens.
Yeah.
And you know what? They're closer than you think. You can find stuff for them on Jupiter and Mars, and you can...
Mercury. Let's name them all. Pluto.
Pluto's not in the game. Pluto's not in the game. But you can search for this alien, but you're kind of working together theme-wise.
Right.
It's not a thematic game. I mean, it's not a cooperative game at all.
Okay.
Yeah, you find aliens. So here's a little of how it plays. Now, there is a lot going on in this game, so I'm going to try to just give you some bits and pieces to give you an idea of how the game works. Now, in this game, you're trying to get a lot of points. That's kind of the main focus here, is to get points. You're going to do that by discovering aliens or finding traces of alien life. Each player has a big guide in here, but the main thing I want to talk about here is the actions. You have a main actions. You'll get one action per turn, as well as some free actions. A lot of actions have different symbols that are involved with them, and that's what this whole section is for. Now, you're going to be moving around the solar system, and one of the actions you can do is you can build basically a little launch probe, and you always build it on Earth. Now, the way this board is built, different things are going to rotate parts of the board. Sometimes they rotate the inner section, sometimes the middle section, and sometimes the outer section. Now, this doesn't change the things too much, except it's going to put asteroids around. Players are going to be spending one of their resources, energy to move, or find other ways to move around the board, and it costs 2 movement to get out of an asteroid belt. But what you're trying to do is get to other planets, whether you're going out here to the planets out far, like Neptune, or maybe just get to Mars. As you fly around, you're also going to be increasing your reputation, and that's an important thing that you'll be able to use over the course of the game. Once you're on a planet, you can send your probe and you can put it in orbit around the planet, or you can land it as a digger on that planet. And each one of these things, when you do that, it has a cost, an energy cost to get these to the planets and launch them. It will give extra points to the first person who does it, and you will even find some traces of alien life if you probe down farther in the planet. But they're going to give you all sorts of bonuses. Some bonuses are just points. Some bonuses are going to let you increase your income. And so players, this is one of the main things of the game, is driving around and finding these planets and landing your probes on them. So that explains 3 of the main actions: launching a probe, orbiting a planet, and landing on a planet. You can also scan, and scanning is where you're going to be trying to get data, and you'll be placing data on your board. I'll come to that more later. And you'll be replacing this data as you scan it with tokens of your own. And this is a little bit of an area majority. Whoever has most targets when this is filled up will get some bonuses and again find another trace of alien life. Now here's your player board, and as you collect data, you'll place it here, and you can move data and place it on these spots. Some of them are going to give you some bonuses as you place them out here. This one's going to give you more income. And once you have data all the way filled to the bottom, you can run your data, analyze that data to find another way to trace alien life. Now, visiting different planets out there is going to give you publicity, and you can get publicity in other ways. And publicity can be, you can spend 3 publicity to draw a card. But a lot of things that you'll do with publicity is you'll spend 6 of it to rotate and get a new technology. There are a lot of different technology tiles that you can get in this game. You can get technology tiles that you place in the bottom that as you put out this energy, you get more benefits. There are technology tiles up here that will help you when you scan. To scan this one, if I put it here, I can scan the sector Earth is in or one of the 2 adjacent sectors. You can always do 2 scans. You can also discard a card to scan in that color. But there's different ways to scan. If I get technologies here, the orange ones, normally you can only have 1 probe flying around. This lets me have 2. This lets me land on moons. These make the cost cheaper to do various things. And these technologies can be useful at the end of the game. But there's a main part of the game I haven't even mentioned yet, and that is the deck of cards. At the beginning of the game, everyone has this here. This is kind of your research section. And in between rounds, this is how many resources you're going to get. You're going to start with a handful of cards, and you're going to be able to tuck one at the beginning of the game and increase what you'll get from round to round. And Other things in the game are going to allow you to increase these, whether to draw more cards or get energy, etc. But cards can be used for so many other things. You can always discard them for the top corner here. This one gives me a free movement. This one gives me some free data. But you can also play a card as your main action. This one's pretty easy. Just gives me 3 publicity. I just got to pay $1. Some cards will stay in front of you. They will, and when you accomplish various things, so this one says the first time I find this trace of alien life, I'll put a marker on here and get 2 publicity. The second time I get 4 points. This one here, I can scan in a sector with one of my probes, but I don't get the data. But I will be able to scan and add things. And every card in this game is different. And there are a lot of the same actions I already mentioned, but usually in a better way. Now, I've mentioned traces of alien life multiple times. And as the game progresses, you'll put markers down as you discover different traces of alien life. At the beginning of the game, you're going to put 2 random aliens out of 5 face down in these sections. When a marker of all 3 of the traces of alien life has been found, then we're going to reveal which alien we found. Ooh, it's the whatever they are. And you'll place that there. There are now more spots to place for trace of alien life, but it's also going to add an entire module into the game. So each module, and so we have the anomalies and the exertions and the Centaurians, and here's the one I have. This is going to explain what it's going to do. It might add some extra cards in the game. It will add some extra pieces, and want to add a different way, basically, to score points. So all this is going to go around. There's going to be some in between. When you pass, you'll draw some cards and get resources from round to round. And after 5 rounds, whoever has the most points from the myriad of ways to get points is the winner. There's a little bit more to the game than that. There are some bonuses that you can score, and there's some objectives that you're going for as the game goes by. And that's a little of how you play. Obviously, that was a fairly quick overview. There's so much in this game that it would be hard. It's a pretty involved teach. I think it's fairly... It makes sense. I don't have to keep explaining things.
Yes.
It almost appears more complex than it is. I mean, it is, but once you get it, it's like it's almost logical.
There's about 8 actions in the game, 2 of which are, well, you can't really worry about them until you've launched a probe into space, landing or orbit. It feels like about the same action. But there are some nice differences, between everything. It is one of those that I found that the second time teaching it will be much easier than your first time teaching it by a lot. Your second time playing it will be a lot more just easygoing than that first time. This makes quite a first impression that I think it really deserves a few more repeat plays.
After playing it the first time, I felt the same I did when I played Freeze for Odin. I was like, all right, I want to just wipe the board and go, now we're really going to play.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
It's because there's a lot going on, and I really like that. I like that there's so much in this game you cannot even remotely do it all. You want to go land on a planet, you're not like, oh man, all the planets are full. No, they're not.
No.
There's all kinds of planets. Go to whichever one you want. And you're probably picking by orbit, like it's close, so I'm going there. But also they give you different rewards, and buy the tech that lets you land on moons, because then you get tons of points.
Yep.
And I really like that aspect of a lot going on. That each player gets that player aid, which I showed in the overview, which is good. Because the one weakness of this game and the components, I think everything looks good. I think it's all pretty easy to figure out where stuff goes. But the card deck, which is awesome, every card is different. Cards aren't obvious. I really wouldn't have hated if they had just written at the bottom what the card did in English. I know they would have to make more cards for different things, but there's a lot of cards where I'm like, okay, look at the symbol. This means this, this means this, this means this. Especially the ones where you're trying to accomplish goals to score them at the end of the game. The future goal cards, whatever they might be.
Yeah, the missions.
The missions.
I didn't have that experience. I think there's a few symbols that pop up and people go, because this is a game where you have a secret hand of cards. And someone eventually will be like, I'm sorry, what does this mean?
Right.
And it's usually something like gain a blue technology. That's not really a symbol found anywhere else, but I find a lot of the symbology is used in places consistently, so I don't have too much issue with that.
I don't actually have an issue with it, but I played with several people, and the questions kept getting asked. I don't really understand this card. And I'm like, well, this means this, this means this, this means this. I get it. I'm just saying there's a lot going on, and that handful of cards, especially, again, your first game, you're going to go, whoa.
That's fair. If you're the person who learns it, you are seeing so much of the iconography through the rule book. And while it's not overwhelming, you're used to it. And then you're right. The other three players at the table are saying, what does this mean? I'm sorry. I got to ask about this card. That's a fair point.
Yeah, it takes mix and matching and stuff like that. I didn't have that, but I would be looking stuff up and ask a lot of questions.
But I do like that deck of cards so much. I love the one thing I've learned playing through this game is that your hand of cards is where it's at. Because the hand of cards is always better than your other actions. And in this game, there's two main currencies, although, and I didn't mention this in the rules, but there's some nice, easy conversions, getting rid of cards. You know, you can switch around things to do stuff.
2 to 1 for things easily, yeah.
Right.
But energy and money are the two main currencies, and energy seems to be used for all the actions. And you're like, I'm always running out of energy. But money is used for the cards. So your best bet is always look at your cards and say, oh, I was planning to do this action anyway. And this one says if I take a probe and land on Mars this turn, I get bonus points. So I'm combining stuff. And that's kind of where the game is. It's about those cards and picking the right card to use at the right time.
The cards can really kind of zone you, like focus you in on a certain strategy too. Because I'll have every ambition to do something different than my cards. I'm like, well, apparently I'm doing this. Apparently I'm just sending out a lot of probes this time, you know, which I do like that. That kind of guides you into a direction.
And I find that there's many games that are, games with large decks of cards, right? Terraforming Mars was kind of the first big one on the scene. You could argue Race for the Galaxy.
Sure.
I think it's one of those where every card's unique. But I feel like this is the one, or this is at least one for me where every card draw feels very opportunistic and exciting, but I don't feel like I'm never drawing the cards that I want because I can just do, at the cost of regular energy and money and stuff, the actions that I really need to, right? I'm set up to go to Neptune and land on that moon. I can just do it with the free actions and the guaranteed actions, right? I'm never saying, ooh, where's that 4th Neptune card? Darn it, I'm not drawing into it.
All right, well, you mentioned exciting. It's like I like any game that has variability, like the alien races in this. The exciting part is the reveal a lot of times on these. You know, you're like, I wonder who this is going to be. You know, it's like, okay, I'm equipped to take that. I really like that.
Now, I want to be clear. I love the aliens. I think the theming of the aliens is almost non-existent. This alien has added some new cards. And, no. I'm saying,
I agree. Yeah.
Like, I don't like, oh, this is a warlike alien? We're going to war. No, it's just they're adding new ways to score.
Right.
And I'm way okay with that. I think it's great. I'm just saying theme-wise, I was like, this alien does, you know what, never mind. Here's the deck of cards. This is how this one works. And there's 5 of them, and you know they're going to make an expansion with it.
Oh, yeah.
10 more aliens or whatever.
Sure.
But it adds some neat end-game scoring stuff that you have no idea what's coming. And I'm a huge fan of that because you can't just build to the very specific thing. It also way punishes you if you don't go out and do the alien stuff, because that takes some work to find a trace of aliens.
Yeah.
And every time you turn over an alien, I think I've seen all 5. They're all like, anyone who did this gets some small reward, and you're like, yeah.
That small reward is often an alien card from that specific deck.
Right.
And you want those. They're not so game-breakingly powerful, but almost any card draw in this game
That's true.
is like...
I'll take any card, thank you.
Yeah, it's precious water in the middle of a desert. It's so hard to just draw more cards easily. And so getting, I've contributed 2 to this alien, that's 2 guaranteed cards when it finishes. And they're going to be pretty exciting cards, because even if you can't do the mission on them, or if you don't really need the main part of it, their discard instant ability is like stronger. There's good ways you can use those either way.
I really like that this game gives you some nice thematic elements. Get in your probe, fly a probe around. Oh, I'm going to land on Neptune. No, I'm going to actually rotate around Neptune, and I want to go do this stuff. I want to search for the alien. I'm going to search in this sector. The data, filling up your computer. Again, well, now that I played it several times, I can easily teach that part. Although that's, again, I think it's a little hot for people to get around. Like, where do I put it? Oh, but you fill that computer up, you can get so many awesome bonuses.
Yeah, when do I do it and all that? Yeah, at first that was a slog.
But I do feel, in my opinion, the weakest part of the game is the area control that's around the board.
Oh, yeah.
as you get that data, because there's no impetus for finishing it, really. There's no impetus. I mean, if you're winning, there's impetus to do it because the rewards are great. It's the one section of the alien stuff that seems to be unlimited. There's 3 different kinds of alien.
The yellow, blue stuff and the
yellow,
pink
blue,
stuff.
pink stuff. The alien traces, and the one you get from those, there's only so many of them. And second place, leaving a disc there is not that big of a deal to me. And it also, I think, heavily impacts player count. So this game goes to 4. No. I'm never playing it with 4. Okay? It's 40 minutes per player. That's accurate. 3 is great. 2 seems that the area control game is not as interesting then. With 3, there's a chance.
Right.
2, I mean, I'll still play the 2, but I think that this game really is a 3-player game.
I don't know, I've played it primarily at 2, and I enjoy it still, and I enjoy the fact that the ties for that little area majority are broken in favor of the last player, or like the later player.
It's a weird, that's almost never in a game.
But it's needed because there's like 5 spots, right? So everyone has 2, there's 2. If you fill in the last 1, you're not going to get it. But if you can, spill over and do 2, you get the tiebreaker. You're right. In a 2-player game, that's going to be less frequent. But you're like, well, I might as well throw 1 in different places so I at least get, that little publicity bonus. But I'm kind of surprised it doesn't scale down the number of data for the spot or something.
It is a little odd in that regard, right? And I still think second place should get something a little better. I mean, because you don't lose out on other things. If I send a probe up and you land first, you're going to get a reward in the planet. But I still get the main chunk of the rewards.
Yeah, I get
you just
3
get
extra points.
3 extra points or whatever it might be. And so I felt it was like the weakest part. At the same time, perhaps the fact that you're also getting data and you can use that data to get more bonuses is its reward in of itself. And
it's the real friends we made along the way.
I'm starting to think that that's my favorite part of the game is running that computer.
Really?
Putting out the blue stuff, huh?
It's neat because there's like 3 main things, right? There's that scanning, making an awesome computer, and then flying around landing on planets.
I love that part.
And then also the aliens, and the aliens are like, now you should do this. And you're like, I will.
I almost forget about the computers every time. I know that's the most powerful thing a lot of times, but I just love flying around, finding aliens.
I think most people will do that their first game also.
Yeah.
They're going to go fly around and discover stuff.
I love trying to move up that publicity track as fast as I can and then grab a new tech and then shoot back up it and grab a new tech.
Losing publicity really hurts, though. When you're like, do I hold on to this publicity to get this home run card? Or
earn it and burn it, baby. That's what I say.
Really? Okay, yeah.
And I'll tell you, and I didn't mention this in the interview, but the technology in this game, they make everything in this game delicious. They're like, you want a technology. Not only do you get this technology, you get a reward. Each technology has a random reward on the back of it. And it's small. Might be an energy, might be money. I don't care.
But it might be the one energy difference between resting now or getting out one really big action before retiring for the round.
And you're always moving forward. Yeah, which I love that.
Yeah.
So for me, overall, this is a pretty fantastic game. It's a bucket of just all kinds of fun things to do, a point salad of sorts, with a theme that is pretty strong. Like the search for alien, I really feel like that's what I'm doing. Yep. The rotation in the middle is not... Like, if they had taken it out of the game, I think the game would still have been fine. But it's interesting to see the asteroids rotating around. The card play is really fun. The goals, which I didn't go over in many details, but being the first person to grab a goal. There's a lot of stuff from other games in here, but I think that the data is completely new. I've not seen anything like that running that computer. That feels new. And then the aliens adding to the game. So this is a pretty strong candidate for a game I enjoyed a lot. I'm giving it an 8.5. Again, with the caveat that I probably would not do that with 4, but there's a lot of games I love that I wouldn't play with that many players either.
I'm actually giving it 8.5 as well. I do like it. I think I like the movement and just the tracks going around more than you because that's timing your jumps. And I see certain places like I'm not going to be able to get there if I don't go now. I don't want to. I like that kind of sense of urgency to it.
And every time you get a tech, there's a rotation.
Right, that's the thing. Yeah. So you have to time. I love that timing element. And I will say I love this Euro game that has a I think it's a very strong theme, which I think is great. I love the mechanics of a Euro, and now you have the theme on top of it. I think it's an 8.5.
Going third stinks sometimes because I'm just a copycat. It's an 8.5. This is an amazing game. I could see it going higher, especially if I get more chance to play it with people who already know it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And as silly as that is,
You don't want to teach it.
I'm okay teaching this one, but I know that everyone is going to be kind of, wading upstream through mud their first play of this.
Right.
It just is going to be the way it goes. But playing this again, as soon as I played it the second time, I taught it better. I taught it smoother. I'm taking turns. I'm seeing the combinations of my opening small hand of cards.
Yeah.
I'm seeing cards on the table going, yep, no matter what, I'm going to focus on drawing that card. You know what I mean? There's so much that opens up to you, and you can't do everything. You want every tech, you won't get every tech. You want to land on all the planets, you won't. And so it is so satisfying. Tomáš Holek, the designer here, also did Galileo Galilei this year. What a great year for space-themed Euro games, man. And he's kind of at the forefront of it. So, yeah, what can I say? This is an amazing game. I love it.
Well, there you go, folks. That is SETI. We're going to find intelligent life somewhere. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Joy Evans.
Not there.
We're not going to find it here.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.